Friends, the season of video game announcements is over, and it's time for us to go over the juiciest highlights. That's something we've already been doing for several days, but we're going to keep doing it for several more days. Going over the most interesting and spectacular trailers that we've seen, the Summer Game Fest, the Xbox event, the PlayStation event, and all the other events. Specifically, today I'm bringing you a selection of games that are really interesting, each with its own appeal. Management games, little park games, first-person shooter horror games, third-person action games, hack-and-slash games, all kinds of games. Before we start, if you've just discovered this channel, I'm going to invite you to subscribe. It's really great, honestly. Not just because I make it, but I don't know why. No, seriously, subscribe. The channel is really great. Come on, I'll wait for you. I'll give you some time. And if you're already a subscriber, give the video a like. Come on, we've been getting few likes lately. Let's get started. We don't have much more than a trailer with cinematics and a little bit of gameplay, but that's more than enough to get us excited. Because we're witnessing the presentation of a new installment in the A Plague Tale saga. What you're seeing is the first and only trailer we have for Resonance, A Plague Tale. The story of this game supposedly takes place 15 years before the events of A Plague Tale Requiem. And the story would follow Sophia, a young looter who is fleeing from an army while, an army is chasing her because she's running away. Supposedly, the video game is going to take place in two simultaneous timelines. One in ancient times, which even looks like ancient Greece or something like that. And another in the Middle Ages, which is where A Plague Tale Requiem takes place. And where A Plague Tale Innocence takes place. Both of them. Do you get me now? On the game's website, we were able to see some images that complement this very short trailer they gave us. And in these images, we were able to get a look, maybe a bit deeper, at what the game is proposing. And we could even see that there are scenes where our protagonist seems to be solving some puzzles, or even exploring a series of temples or shrines. Everything looks much, much older than the Middle Ages. Well, this seems like it's going to be one of the timelines we'll be able to play in besides the Middle Ages. We don't know the game's plot in depth. Why is our protagonist fighting with swords and armor in front of a stone castle? We don't know that either. What we do know is that it's coming out next year on PlayStation 5 PC and Xbox Series. And apparently it won't be focused on stealth, but rather on action, exploration, and puzzles. Well, I don't know. There's hope. Because these people keep outdoing themselves. And the games they've released are very good and made with a very small budget. For now, if what you're seeing is making you want to discover the saga, try A Plague Tale with Innocence or Requiem. What I have to recommend to you is a great deal from Eneba. And right now on Eneba, you can get A Plague Tale Requiem for $7 on PC or A Plague Tale Innocence for $5 on PC. There are even some deals for Requiem and Innocence on Xbox if you're interested. To take advantage of these deals, all you have to do is open any video from Big Data. Go to the description where it says Games on Sale on Eneba and click on that link. That will take you to Eneba, where you enter Plague Tale, and that's it. You have access to the deals. Look, $7 for Plague Tale. Reckon is more than fine. Remember that once you open the deal, you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom where the best prices are. The new intellectual property from Bloober Team, the creators of the Silent Hill remake. DOS is a third-person survival horror set in two timelines. A post-apocalyptic future. Poland of 1980. And we already have a new trailer. This is Kronos the New Dawn, and it looks spectacular. In this video game, you are a traveler, an agent of an organization called The Collective, sent from the future to the alternative Poland of 1980 with the mission to extract key people. Before a cataclysm called the Change that messed everything up happens. That is, they send you from the future before everything gets messed up to save people from the past, kind of like in Terminator. Well, a post-apocalyptic future full of twisted creatures and a past right before the disaster, kind of historical. Because it seems like you have to save certain people before they turn into the abominations we're fighting in the future. Since it's a survival horror, since it's a horror game and all that, they're being very critical of the story, because the point is for you to discover the story yourself. But what they're not being critical about is how visceral all of this looks. The guts and the killing, which are spectacular. The game is going to have a dismemberment system for enemies, just like in Dead Space, for example. Or the other one, the Callisto Protocol. But on top of all this, if you suddenly dismember an enemy and their arm is left lying around and another one comes along, can it suck up that arm? And now you have to face an enemy with an extra arm. Because enemies can be made up of other enemies, ones you left half dead or dismembered. How nice. It's coming out this year, that's the good news. It'll probably be released in October or November. There's no date yet, but probably around then. Well, I don't know if this is a great game or not, but let's see. It just came out, so we have to talk about it. Let me tell you that yesterday the new Rainbow Six Siege was released, which is now called X. This isn't a new Rainbow Six Siege, but rather a reinvention of the original. The core gameplay is the same, but it updates the graphics, updates the audio, adds new rappelling mechanics, and new partially destructible environments. The title launched with a new mode, 6 vs 6, and it's available right now on next-generation consoles and on PC. If you want to play the basic 6 vs 6 mode, and I don't know what other modes, it's free. Now, if you want to play ranked and other more pro things, you have to pay for the game. I think it's $20. But anyway, you can try it for free right now if you want to see how the new Rainbow Six Siege looks on Steam. It was a success, it brought a lot of new people to the game on consoles, I have no idea. Originally, this was going to be a downloadable content for Dying Light 2, but it ended up being a full release, since the developers lost control of it. In length and in scope. This is Dying Light the Beast, an open-world action and zombie game that takes place within the same world as Dying Light. In an old abandoned forest resort. For this title, the original protagonist of Dying Light, Kyle Crane, returns. After 13 years of being a prisoner and having experiments done on him, he breaks free. And he becomes a human-zombie hybrid with brutal abilities that drive him to seek revenge. Obviously because for 13 years they were messing with him. Our protagonist can activate a superhuman strength or beast mode, hence the name of the video game, which allows him to throw heavy objects, deal devastating damage, fight hand-to-hand, and endure more. In other words, you're a superhuman with super strength and mutant powers who was experimented on in a bunker for 13 years. Now he's free and completely insane. It's played single player with a story mode or even co-op for up to 4 players, and it comes out on August 22nd. And if you had the Ultimate Edition of Dying Light 2, well, you get this game for free. At Techland, they emphasize that they want to return to a more zombie-focused horror with fewer human factions and less human drama, with more zombie terror and oppressive atmospheres. And they say they achieved it with this new video game. Well, there it is. It looks spectacular. The charm of Mortal Shell, and what sets it apart from others? Souls-like. It's mainly based on 3 pillars. First of all, in this video game, you don't create your own character like in other Souls-like games. Instead, you possess the bodies of fallen warriors, and each fallen warrior you possess has different characteristics, a different build, and so on. Secondly, instead of having a block or parry button like in other Souls-like games, in this video game, you petrify yourself, you turn to stone, you harden, and with this you can block attacks and counter-attack or break the enemy's defense. Or even survive a little longer while you're being attacked from all sides. And thirdly, Mortal Gel is a bit more minimalist, you could say more raw, more oppressive, and it doesn't have as much explicit lore. You're there playing, and many times you don't know why, you move forward, you fight, and that's it. Well, that's how Mortal Gel 1 was, and supposedly this one we're seeing, which is Mortal Gel 2, is going to be more or less the same. A Souls-like based on this mechanic of possessing bodies and at the same time possessing builds and completely different character constructions. If you're interested in knowing more or less what this Mortal Gel 2, which looks amazing and is coming out next year, is going to be about, let me tell you that Mortal Gel 1 is available on all platforms and it's always on sale. Well, I don't know if this game can be classified as a masterpiece, but I really want to talk about it. And that's because we have new gameplay from Baby Steps, the game from Devolver Digital, where your only challenge is to learn how to walk with your character. He's all chubby and in his 30s. We can see gameplay where Nate, our chubby 30-something character, tries to climb a tower. And here we can see, essentially, the full splendor of Baby Steps' gameplay, which is all about trying to walk without falling and without breaking your spine. This is the game. There's no map, no weapons, no abilities. It's just us, in a semi-open world, trying to walk toward the places that catch our attention. To find out why we were brought here. And apparently also to find a bathroom to do our business, because it seems like we need to go to the bathroom. The title will be coming to PlayStation 5 and PC on Steam on September 8th. And even though I don't quite understand what the game is specifically about, it seems like one of those titles that, just by being challenging, might have something special. And coming from the people at Devolver Digital, I think we can trust them. Because these people usually publish things that are sometimes a bit strange, but generally good, interesting, or different. Chronicles Medieval is a medieval sandbox action strategy role-playing game developed by Raw Power Games, a new studio formed by veterans from other studios. This title is obviously set in medieval Europe, and its developers offer us a pretty interesting development scheme. It turns out that in this title, we will be able to choose to play our game based on one of three pillars. We can focus on military power and become a great military lord with many armies and be the master of war and conquest. We can focus on being an adventurer and discover new regions, treasures, do different jobs, uncover the secrets of the game, travel from village to village, act as a messenger, and things like that. Or we can focus on fortune and become a merchant or resource explorer, manage caravans, open businesses, set up shops, and things like that. Apparently, and even though we don't have gameplay, this is what I understood. This video game would be kind of like Kingdom Come Deliverance. But in this one, we can focus on one of these three pillars. Or we become a completely sadistic military leader with armies and dominate everything. Or we become a merchant who controls the money. Or we become an explorer who dedicates himself to finding treasures and make connections between different clans and things like that. It's a shame that they didn't show us any gameplay and left us with such an interesting description of a title that clearly seems to be a Kingdom Come Deliverance, but more ambitious and, well, visually spectacular. I'm not saying that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 isn't spectacular, because honestly, it's really good. But anyway, did you see this trailer they showed us? It's spectacular. How many times did I say spectacular? In this video, we have the announcement of an Age of Empires for Game of Thrones, and it's called War for Westeros. And it's presented as that, a real-time strategy game, like Age of Empires, but for Game of Thrones. With the clans from Game of Thrones in the world of Game of Thrones. We don't have any gameplay footage yet, but we do have the promise that it will arrive in 2026 with a campaign mode and also online multiplayer. Some of the screenshots of the game that were released show us the map design, the design of the troops, and even show us some dragons and things like that that we might be able to control. I have no idea. For now, we have confirmed that it's a strategy game and that it will have both a paid campaign and a free-to-play multiplayer mode when it comes out sometime next year. If you like park management video games, if you enjoy playing tycoon games, so to speak, you might be interested in this title because as park management games, they're spectacular. This is Jurassic World Evolution, but it's not the first or the second one, it's the third. It was just announced, and it's coming on October 21st to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. In this game, you do the same thing as in any tycoon. Manage a park, but this time, it's a dinosaur park, just like all those that failed in the movies. Well, that's how you're going to fail when the dinosaurs escape and eat people, which in fact can actually happen. More than 80 species, with their male, female, and now their juvenile versions. A ton of facilities to develop dinosaur house, vehicle handling. The video game has everything. You can even send researchers to other parts of the world to look for bones and to develop your own dinosaurs and things like that. I played Jurassic World Evolution, the first one. I played the second one and I loved it. And this third one, without a doubt, I'm going to play it. And I can recommend it because as a management game, like for little parks and stuff like that, these titles are really great, honestly. This week, a video game based on the manga and anime 7 Deadly Sins was also presented. If you don't know what it's about, let me tell you that the anime is on Netflix, in case you want to check it out. Well, it turns out that this video game is kind of like a version of Genshin Impact, so to speak. A free-to-play game for PlayStation 5, PC, and phones, in which we play as the son of Meliodas, if I understood correctly. In an open-world adventure with enemies, gacha, and all that stuff. A Genshin Impact of 7 Deadly Sins. The title doesn't have a confirmed release date yet, but is it coming out sometime in the middle of the year? On the platforms I mentioned, PlayStation 5, PC, and mobile. It looks pretty good, honestly. And the graphic style, which is similar to the series, I think that's a good choice. If you like intense survival horror with deformed monsters, gore, and physics that make you feel sick to your stomach, you'll probably like it. Besides, if you do, you might be a little messed up in the head. This video game is called ILL, and it's a survival game that looks spectacular, developed entirely in Unreal Engine 5. And it has a total focus on body horror, that is, on the horror of shooting at things that explode and break into pieces. The horror of dismembering disgusting enemies. A mistake similar to the one, for example, that the new game from Blooper Team Kronos had. In this game, you find yourself in an old research fort, a kind of settlement that was used for experiments. We don't know specifically what for, but obviously things went wrong, and we come here to investigate what's going on. Because it seems that a supernatural entity possessed the things that were still alive here, and everything got out of control. Everything is very terrifying, everything is very enigmatic. We don't know much about the story because it's a survival horror. Its developers promise that this is the evolution of the survival horror genre, with unpredictable and completely deranged enemies, with realistic dismemberment physics, and with an oppressive atmosphere. In addition, they promise something that's not very common in this genre, which is that we'll be able to interact freely with certain elements of the environment, and that the enemies will also be able to throw things at us, break things, and so on. On top of all this, they also promise a large customizable arsenal, with very little ammo obviously, but with many different types and ways to face the enemies. Seriously, does what they showed of Hill look amazing? If the game runs on 100 consoles, great, and if not, that's fine too. What can I say, friends? That's it for this new summary of video games and spectacular releases. Let me know in the comments which video game caught your attention the most and which release you're looking forward to. Out of everything we've seen these past few days, I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and give us a big like, which really helps us out. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.